Just had Ian Henschke, excuse me, on the program talking about the lack of aged care residents getting that third booster at the moment. So roughly 80,000 of our most vulnerable at this stage. If vaccines are so plentiful, why is that number so high?
Well, we've had 99% of facilities visited, and so we've made sure that every resident has had that opportunity. And we would encourage families to take up the opportunity and to provide that consent, but we're right across the country. And all of these facilities have been visited, with just the 1% of those that have had barriers such as outbreaks and staff unable to attend, and they'll be completed in the coming days. So our job has been to provide 100% opportunity, and that's just about to be completed. But we'll keep going back and continue to encourage loved ones or families to provide that consent, or where individuals are there, even though they may be in the very latest stages of life, we do want them to take it because it can help protect them. But it can also mean that even if they're in palliative care, their loved ones or friends can visit them. And that's such an important thing.
Okay, so are the rest, those that remain, are they sitting ducks?
We do know that there's a 91% vaccination rate amongst our elderly in aged care and a 99% rate amongst staff. So we have arguably the highest, or certainly one of the highest rates of vaccination amongst aged care staff, which has been a monumental achievement by the staff, the health system, by everybody involved. But we want to encourage, as I say, those families that may not have provided consent, may not have felt that their loved ones needed it, to really reconsider and to provide that support and consent. And the Operation COVID Shield, which Lieutenant General Fruin is leading, they've resolved, with our strong encouragement, to continue to go back and to reoffer these facilities the booster.
I asked you about this last week, but is it your expectation that the definition for full vaccination will soon change to include that booster shot?
So that is with ATAGI, the Technical Advisory Group on Immunisation. I think it's more likely than not that will be the case. That's my expectation. But what it doesn't change is the fact that we've been encouraging people to take up that booster, and there's more than enough vaccinations and vaccines for every Australian. We've opened today for 16 to 18-year-olds to join that group. There are 380,000 who are immediately eligible. And I know our daughter, who's 16, has been keen, saying, "Come on, Dad, when is this?" And I was able to say, as of today, it's available. And so we've had 8.4 million boosters, and that number's increasing by over 200,000 a day on weekdays. And what that means is that we're on track to be one of the most highly boosted nations in the world, as well as one of the most highly vaccinated nations in the world.
Okay. The text messages, Minister. Yesterday I noticed that you said that you weren't the leaker, but would you urge the person who was to come forward?
I don't think there is any federal minister that's been involved in this. I think the simplest thing is for the journalist in question just to release the material. And I think with all of the details, I think that would be the simplest thing. But what I've seen is the most united cabinet in my 20 years in Parliament, people who are absolutely passionate about the work that we do, supporting the Prime Minister, who believe absolutely in Scott Morrison. That's why I don't buy this.
So you think he's making it up?
I do not believe that this has been done or sent by a federal minister.
So it's possibly a state minister, or he's making it up? Which one is it?
Beyond that, I'll let the individual in question explain. But my clear categorical view is I do not believe this has been done by a federal minister. So having said that, what does matter is our focus is on exactly the things we're talking about. One of the highest vaccination rates in the world, one of the lowest rates of loss of life, one of the lowest rates of loss of life, and one of the strongest economic recoveries. And I think, in my view, looking back at political history, there probably hasn't been a more unified cabinet since the early 1960s. And the relationship between the Prime Minister and the Treasurer, between the Leader and the Deputy, between Scott Morrison and Josh Frydenberg, is arguably one of the strongest between those two principles since Federation in Australia.
Okay.
And so that's what I see. And if you started with a blank slate at the start of the pandemic, knowing everything we know, who are the two people I would choose to run the country? I'd choose Scott Morrison and Josh Frydenberg.